How does wet-dry mix work for chorus and flanger? Have you ever wondered how to create those lush, swirling sounds in your music? The secret often lies in the wet-dry mix control of effects like chorus and flanger. This control is essential for balancing the processed sound with the original signal. Let's break it down. The wet-dry mix adjusts how much of the effect you hear compared to the clean sound. A low-wet mix means the original signal is more prominent, keeping things clear while adding a hint of modulation. On the other hand, a high-wet mix makes the effect stand out, creating a more dramatic sound. At 100% wet, you only hear the process signal, which can lead to intense textures or pronounced sweeps. Chorus effects typically use longer delay times, around 20 to 30 milliseconds. This creates a thickening effect, making the sound feel fuller. When you adjust the wet-dry mix for chorus, you control how much of that thickened sound blends with the original. A lower wet mix keeps it subtle, perfect for adding depth without overwhelming the track. Flanger effects, however, work with shorter delay times, usually between 1 and 10 milliseconds. They often include feedback, which creates those sweeping, metallic sounds. The wet-dry mix here is crucial for controlling the intensity of the flanger sweep. A lower wet mix adds a gentle shimmer, while a higher wet mix emphasizes the sweeping effect. In music production, getting the wet-dry mix right is key to fitting these effects into your mix. If the mix is too wet, it can muddy the sound and mask important elements. Many producers automate the wet-dry mix to create dynamic changes throughout a song. For example, you might use a low wet mix during verses and increase it in the choruses for added impact. You can also play with stereo imaging. Keeping the dry signal centered while panning the wet signal left or right can create a wider soundstage. This technique adds depth and makes the mix feel more immersive. So, the wet-dry mix for chorus and flanger is all about controlling how much of the modulated sound blends with the original. Adjusting this balance shapes the effect's presence and intensity in your music. Properly setting the wet-dry mix allows you to maintain clarity while adding creative modulation to your tracks.